Welcome to this recording focusing on the area of RSE. This recording aims to support SPHE teachers planning for RSE teaching, learning and assessment. It is recommended that you would engage with our video on SPHE essentials before this presentation, particularly for those who are new to teaching SPHE. In this recording, we will highlight the key documents relating to RSE teaching, learning and assessment. We will outline key classroom considerations to promote a safe environment for both the students and the teacher, and we will signpost further support for best practice for teaching and learning. We can see from this slide the breadth and depth of RSE. It is not just about sexuality and reproduction. A key element of RSE is relationships. RSE is encompassed in every module and strand of SPHE, and this needs to be reiterated to students and parents. A common question that is asked is how much time should be allocated to teaching RSE on a yearly basis. The interim guideline states that one timetable period per week should be allocated to SPHE. Out of the SPHE programme in operation in schools, 5 to 6 timetable periods in the year should be assigned to RSE. SPHE, in dealing with issues such as self-esteem, health, hygiene, substance use, communication skills and life roles, supports key elements of RSE. Therefore, elements of RSE will naturally overlap with other learning outcomes across the other modules and strands. Additionally, SPHE and RSE can be supplemented by work done on a cross-curricular basis through the medium of a wide range of subjects. SPHE teachers are encouraged to teach RSE in the second term of the school year. The rationale for this is that teachers have ample time in Term 1 to create and sustain a safe classroom environment in the SPHE classroom, where students are clear on expectations and boundaries, and also students are familiar and ideally comfortable with the experiential approach to teaching and learning in SPHE. The class agreement, ideally co-created with students, will support the creation of this supportive atmosphere. Circular 59/21 provides important information regarding wellbeing planning in schools. As you can see from this slide, the circular clearly states that from September 2022 onwards, the use of the junior cycle syllabus will be discontinued. Therefore, the two options that remain are: Option 1, using the NCCA short course specification for SPHE, or Option 2, a school-designed or externally designed short course in SPHE. Here we are going to focus on Option 1, the NCCA short course specification. There are 3 key documents that are important to familiarise yourself with as you plan for your junior cycle SPHE lessons. The SPHE specification, which details the 45 learning outcomes associated with this short course. The SPHE assessment guidelines, which explores how we can embed effective assessment approaches into teaching and learning in SPHE. And finally, the Wellbeing Guidelines, which offer guidance on whole school wellbeing, as well as offering samples of the wellbeing programs designed to accommodate the 400 timetabled hours. As you can see on the slide, the short course specification is divided into 4 strands: Who am I?, Minding myself and others, Team up, and My mental health. There are a total of 45 learning outcomes linked to the specification. On this slide, you can see the list of learning outcomes under each of these strands. It is expected that by the end of Year 3, students will have had the opportunity to engage with all 45 of these learning outcomes. Learning outcomes specific to RSE can be found under Strand 3, Team Up. Here there is a specific focus on relationships and sexuality. It is worth noting that it would be advisable to explore learning outcomes from other strands when exploring the topic of RSE, as connections can be found across all 4 strands. For example, when we explore learning outcome 3.5, analyse relationship difficulties experienced by young people, students may organically speak to the effects of relationship challenges on their mental health. Here we can see the intricate relationship between learning outcome 3.5 and learning outcome 4.2 from strand 4, appreciating the importance of talking things over, including recognizing the links between thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. We will now signpost some key documents which are pertinent to the teaching of RSE. From the year 2000, RSE became a mandatory part of the junior cycle SPHE curriculum. Circular 27/2008 is very significant as it outlines the rationale for teaching and learning about RSE in schools and the expectation in terms of what needs to be taught. Circular 37/2010 is also very important as it reminds schools of their obligation to develop a school policy in regards to relationships and sexuality education, and to implement a programme in this area as an element of SPHE at junior cycle and as an RSE programme in senior cycle. Further insights as to our role and expectations as RSE teachers is provided by the Child Protection and Safeguarding Inspections, also known as CPSI. At the core of the CPSI inspections is a comprehensive set of checks regarding compliance with Children First 2015 and with the Child Protection Procedures for Primary and Post-Primary Schools 2017. Here we can see Check 10 and the sub-checks that will be monitored by the inspectors during a CPSI. Students will be surveyed and asked about their experience of the RSE curriculum. Inspectors will also review communication with parents about RSE. Please refer in particular to Check 10 of the Guide to CPSI, which is accessible on gov.ie. The NCCA reviewed RSE in primary and post-primary schools in 2019. Numerous stakeholders were invited to contribute. The report on the review provides us with valuable insights into what works well and what updates would be welcome. Now we will outline how to create a safe environment in the RSE classroom, both for the students and the teacher. As a teacher of SPHE, your role in the classroom is more facilitative in nature than other subjects. As the teacher, it is important to support the development and nurturing of the safe classroom environment. When we plan in consultation with our students, meet them where they are at in terms of their everyday lives, use a range of active teaching and learning methodologies, we are supporting our students to learn in our SPHE classroom. It is also important that we acknowledge our own lack of knowledge. We will not have all the answers in the SPHE classroom, so it is important to let go of the need to be an expert. There is a referral process in the school to support students' needs that exist outside of our position as SPHE teachers. It is really important that all teachers familiarise themselves with these pathways of referral. A teacher is a mandated person and therefore reports a disclosure to the DLP without delay. It is for that reason we do not promise confidentiality to our students. SPHE class provides an opportunity to discuss and share opinions, but it is not the right place to disclose information that is personal or sensitive, either about oneself or about another person. If a student wishes to discuss something of a personal or confidential nature, they should be advised to talk to the teacher after the class or to another trusted adult. The students can be reminded that there are supports in place for them at home, in school, in the community, online, and with external agencies, and we can signpost these supports to them. Care should be taken to ensure that we are not adopting an ongoing support or welfare role beyond the scope of our position as SPHE teachers. Relationships are at the core of RSE. Students welcome opportunities to ask questions and to discuss issues in a safe environment. Our students learn best from teachers who are open and authentic, but also who can set limits. It is really important to co-create a classroom agreement with your students. By doing this, you are essentially promoting a climate of respect and trust. The students learn more about privacy and boundaries. They become responsible for their own behaviour and learning, and they develop life skills for working and living with others. The following elements would be important to have in a classroom agreement. The agreement should be revisited before teaching RSE to ensure safety in the classroom, both for the students and the teacher. Some key elements include respectful and inclusive behaviour and language, no put-downs, one voice only, and boundaries around oversharing. It is important to highlight to students the need to share I statements, whereby you give your opinion only. Confidentiality is really important, but there are limits, as we are mandated to report child protection concerns to our DLP. It is really important that this agreement is visible so that you can remind your students about agreed behaviours. Appropriate verbal and body language should be used by the students and teacher, and a non-judgmental tone by all is vital. We, as teachers, encourage our students to communicate confidently about sexuality. It is also important that as teachers, we approach our RSE classroom with a diverse mindset. This is especially important when referring to relationships. Acknowledging the range of relationship types and family structures enhances a sense of inclusivity and belonging within the classroom. We need to notice our language to reflect this diversity inclusively. When we are introducing new topics, it is important that we remind our students that we are presuming a diversity of gender and sexual identities within our classroom. The use of gender-neutral collective nouns like folks, instead of addressing groups of students as lads, boys, girls and ladies, is important for gender and sexuality inclusiveness, and it should be used to avoid isolating those who don't feel included by gender segregating terms. Ensuring we are inclusive in our pronouns, she, he, they, are important to ensure that we are not heteronormative in our use of language. Further bespoke support in SPHE and RSE is available to you and your colleagues by using the application process outlined here. One of our health and wellbeing advisors can support your school at a pace and path that works for your own school context. All requests must be approved by your principal. This presentation is now concluded.